Tony McGee has started.
We are recording, my friends.
Yay!
Thank you. So, good morning.
Good morning. It's starting right now.
It is. Okay. So we are your two tipsy teachers, and today we are welcoming Brad Smith and Amanda Bell for just a quick little recording, which has taken us several tries, which I'm not going to go into because I think we've already expressed our frustration with our inabilities. But I'm going to give a shout out to both of these guys. Oh crap, there goes my phone. For hanging in there, for helping us out, and for being troubleshooters. That alone, my friends, is a great endorsement. These guys stick with it. They figure out ways, they work together, and we got it done. So we are recording. The big reason, friends, why we invited both Brad and Amanda on today is because based off of our Glenn post, some of the comments that we were receiving is, it's too bad nobody is running against him.
Oof.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It is.
I feel like between Brad and I, we've covered nearly every
square inch.
Everywhere. You're everywhere. Yes.
You are. And that is so appreciated. But I'm also very much of the mindset that, hey, if there are people out there that still don't know that we have two solid choices. We started with 9 solid choices, friends. Is that right?
Yeah.
9 at one point. And, stepping up to the plate to run for any elected office takes courage and takes commitment. So it is worth putting it out there, folks. So we just want to start with a quick introduction. Brad, if you want to go ahead and start why you're running. And then Amanda, we can follow up with that. And then we really want to talk just a little bit about education. And we're going to try and keep it brief, folks. I know we keep saying that, but we want to respect their time. Like they said, they are everywhere and they are busy and they have taken the time to sit down with us and fumble through our technological difficulties. We appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us. And I think everybody loves seeing you speak truth to Glenn. I wouldn't say power because it's Glenn, but speak truth to Glenn, right? And so that was a really great moment. And so my name is Brad Smith. I'm running for Congress here in the 6th District. I've lived here literally my entire life. I'm a proud public school graduate from Neenah High School. I'm also a University of Wisconsin public graduate from Stevens Point. And so I deeply care about and love our wonderful history of strong public education here in Wisconsin, which is unfortunately constantly under attack. So my background, I grew up in the Fox Valley. My parents started out pretty working class in a little unincorporated town called Larson. And then from there, we were able to build up over time. I enlisted in the Wisconsin Army National Guard to get access to the GI Bill, because we don't have all pathways to affordable school. And so through my service, I was able to pay for undergraduate. I deployed during the Second Iraq War. I got access to more benefits through my service. So then I went and did a master's program. So, when we talk about things like the pathways, like Pell Grant programs and things like that, to give people more access to higher education, I've been a fortunate person to be able to experience that and the opportunity it created for my family. But I'm really disappointed because that is not available to too many people and it's going the other way. So why I'm in this race, I'm hoping to focus on the things that I believe every family depends on here that are nonpartisan. They're base foundational needs for families. And I'm talking about livable wages, the ability to afford homes in your community near where you work, education and training investment for higher education, whether that's college, going into apprenticeships or trades. And also focusing on healthcare access and resources that are available really as a right, as something that actually makes sure that everybody has the care they need for their families. So they aren't getting $7,000 bills like I just had with my son 2 years in a row, cash, which most people could never sustain. And we're lucky it hasn't broken us. So I'm worried about their future. I have 2 young boys, they're 10 and 12. They go to our wonderful public school here in Mequon. And I don't have confidence that they're going to have the better outcomes than we all did, which historically we've all had. That's the very American dream, right? They're going to be able to afford a home. They're going to be able to get into a good career that pays them in a way that they can participate in the economy, raise a family, et cetera. So I'm doing this. It's, perhaps cliche, but cliche for a reason, for our future, for our children. And that's what got me into this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Amanda.
Yes, so thank you both for inviting us on today. This is such a pleasure to talk to you. I grew up on a small family dairy farm just outside of Sheboygan, and I graduated from a tiny little public school called Howard's Grove. Yep.
Amanda, I used to teach in Random Lake, so they were in our conference.
My sister is now the principal at Random Lake. So I
Okay.
love that connection. So again, I grew up on a small dairy farm in the 80s. So times were tough and times have never been very fruitful, we'll say. But I was able to work multiple jobs to get through college. And I ended up getting degrees from the University of Wisconsin in Stevens Point in watershed management and natural resources.
Mhm.
Then I spent the next 25 years as a civil servant working for the American people. I was a hydrologist and became deputy director for the U.S. Geological Survey, which is a science and research agency within the Department of Interior in the federal government. I oversaw large teams. I sampled water across the country. I always like to say from Carolinas to California. I've probably been in that stream. Once I worked my way up to deputy director, I was overseeing a $33 million federal budget, writing federal policy, and helping oversee 230 employees and 13 facilities as the operations officer. When DOGE came in last spring and started firing employees and cutting research and science funding, that affected my staff and my research directly. They basically fired my employees that I had spent 2 years hiring and training, and without warning, and then they tried to put in their personnel records that they were fired for performance reasons. So when I reached out to our representatives and saying, you have to stop this, this is wrong, why are you not stopping what DOGE is doing? I got no answer. So that was the day that I decided that Glenn Grothman has destroyed my career and I was going to take his job. Right? So since then, because my husband is also a public sector worker, he is a forester with the Department of Natural Resources. He can't afford our mortgage by himself. So I went and got my license to be a substitute teacher, and I'm working on my teaching degree. So I am in the public school system. My daughter is an incredible student at Poinet, but I've been subbing at 3 rural school districts in Columbia County. So I'm seeing firsthand the struggles that our public education system is going through. I'm talking to the teachers because they're my colleagues. As I mentioned before, my sister is a principal. My brother-in-law is a teacher. My sister-in-law is a teacher. I've got numerous aunts and uncles that are in education, and we need to make sure that people who are in the education system are actually making the rules instead of a pro wrestler's wife.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I want to focus on is affordability. That includes living wages, affordable food, healthcare, housing, childcare. We need to make sure that we are supporting our daycare teachers and our daycare providers, because there is vast areas of the 6th district that are basically daycare deserts. And if you can start building brains early in early childhood education, then they can have a head start when they get to the grade schools. So I've been working really closely with early childhood educators. Then I want accessibility so that we have people that can get to their strong public schools, make sure they have access to quality health care, and everybody has access to clean air and water. So that is one of the big things, especially with my background in environmental science. The other things is advocacy and accountability. We need to make sure that people have rights and that their rights are not being taken away. And we need to make sure that we have free and fair elections, that people who are breaking the law, especially at the federal level and in this administration, are held to account and are held responsible for what they've been doing. And that includes profiting from their political power and their political positions. So those are kind of the things that I want to focus on. And again, I'd like to thank you both for having us on today.
Sure.
Thank you. I mean, you both have hit on so many issues that I think many of us in our own community we're experiencing, and we feel the the effects of what's happening with our current administration. So I appreciate both of you being those vocal advocates and calling out what it is, right? And not sugarcoating it, because it is harmful and it is not helpful, and we can do better. So it is so refreshing to hear both of you speak so candidly about that. I think you touched on the public education piece, and there are a lot of important issues in public education, and we could talk about those issues forever, but just really in general, from a parental view, from I went through the system view, from I'm subbing in the schools view, how do we strengthen our public schools? What is the one thing or maybe two things that you think need to happen immediately to strengthen our public schools? And Mandy, we can go first on this one if you don't mind.
Sure. So first off, we need to rebuild the Department of Education at the federal level. The fact that we've had multiple pieces of the Department of Ed basically cut off and scattered to the wind, our special ed going to Health and Human Services, the student loans going to the IRS, and now they're rumoring it to going to Small Business Administration. I'm like, how does that? Student loans are not small businesses, but okay. But focusing on making sure that we rebuild that, because when we're starting to remove professional designations, including for teachers, counselors, nurses, occupational and physical therapists, those are all women-dominated fields. And those are all mandatory reporting fields that this administration has decided that don't deserve the level of funding and the level of Pell Grants and scholarships available to what they deemed as professional. So that's point one. The second is making sure that public dollars stay in public schools. When I'm teaching at those 3 different schools, there is a wealth gap that I can't even begin to explain, because one school, we've got toilets that are broken and have been broken for the whole year, versus another school who has access to the latest technology. They all have Chromebooks. They all have the latest textbooks. One school I'm teaching in, their science books are from when I graduated high school in '98. I think science has done a little bit of advancement in 26 or 20 years, but I don't do that quietly. But we need to make sure that all schools have access to similar opportunities. That even goes as far as making sure that all schools have access to AP courses, because one of the schools, they have 2 AP courses and another school has 13. So wouldn't it be amazing if all of the high schools had access to all of these AP courses? We did it during COVID. We've shown that we can do this. We've shown that we can have these virtual classes that work really well, especially for AP. And kids are trying to get college credit so that they don't have to go into more debt. So those are the kind of the big things, making sure that equal access and rebuilding our Department of Ed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so agree with Amanda completely. Vouchers have been one of the biggest challenges I think we're seeing, where there are so many public resources and dollars being drained away from our schools, and we're effectively funding parallel school structures, but not even funding them equally. So I've had a lot of conversations with local educators as well as school board members, and the National and State Teachers Union endorsed our campaign as well. So I've been speaking with the Teachers Union about what they're seeing nationally and also at the state level. And some of the metrics are eye-popping and people don't know about it, right? So I'll give you an example. As Amanda stated, different schools have different discrepancies and levels of discrepancies. My children are in our wonderful school district, the Mequon-Thiensville Public School District here. I have one in 4th grade, one in 6th grade. The per pupil public funding here in Mequon for a public student is $1,800. Do you know what the voucher one is for an equivalent?
I'm gonna go double.
Worse.
Really?
9,000.
9,000 per
A
pupil?
voucher student gets $8,000 more public dollars for an unmanaged program, while my children go without. We also have referendums and have had them every year for roof repair on my children's public school. This is not acceptable. This is not normal. It is outrageous. And Glenn Grothman has shown through his votes on Act 10 that he doesn't respect education. He doesn't respect educators. And he says that there's too much waste, fraud, and abuse, blah, 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 blah. Teachers are paid too much. But At the same time, Glenn is out here proliferating all of this, right? And he is party to all of the stripping apart of the Department of Education and enabling this secondary system to proliferate because he wants to push it all to schools and say that federal has no responsibility to have oversight over the education of our students. We should push it down to the states where this is happening. The other thing I want to share with you that was frustrating and powerful is a member of the Neenah Joint School District Board who's running for the House or for the Assembly here in the state, by the way, Alex, go Alex. She shared a story about Neenah, which is where I graduated from, my wife as well. Great public school. In their school district or in their region, it isn't Neenah specifically, for some of the schools that don't have public transportation, if a parent has to drive their child to school, they have to write a check to the parents, cash, to reimburse them for transportation for kids who go to a private school or a voucher school. And per pupil, that check amounts to over $700 in some examples. And if you drive 2 children to school, like if I drove my 2 boys to the school, which is, same school, 2 checks. So tell me, which is more wasteful, supporting our teachers and fair pay, or carving out all these public dollars and literally writing checks to parents to drive their children to school to the tune of $700 per pupil? It is outrageous. And at every turn, Glenn is trying to pull apart these public programs and, essentially calling it waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, we're enabling these other types of attacks to happen under his guard. And then recently, I do have a quote here. He has said, and I quote, to Linda McMahon, the wonderful wrestling executive, the time has come to break up the department and its wasteful spending and return education to the states. So that is where our current representative is heading. This issue is one of the top concerns I hear constantly on the doors and in our communities. And can you trust this man to actually do the work to help invest in our kids, invest in our teachers, and invest in our education? I think, the evidence is there, absolutely not. And so I'm excited to do better, represent us, and invest in our communities and our children. And I'm proud to have the support of the National Teachers Union and State Union to be partners in that and help me make sure I do it in a way that is well aligned with what our educators are saying they need. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that you both are able to so passionately hit on the 2 big issues. They really are. And I think the thing that sometimes we don't often get to unpack is all the little pieces that these big issues are impacting, because it's not just one thing. And the lack of understanding out there about the inequities that have been happening across our state within our schools, not just in programs we're able to offer, classes we're able to offer, supports we're able to offer. But I think something we don't talk about enough is what this whole Act 10 and dismantling has done to districts' abilities to attract and retain professional staff that want to make a career out of education again, right? That needs to come back. That is so important. I'd like to wrap it up because I know you guys are super busy and we got a late start. So if there's, one final thing you could leave this crew with other than we are running, get out there, get our names out there. Know there is somebody. Know there are 2 strong candidates who are standing up to what is happening. And we have a choice to make. And once we make that choice, we have a job to do, is to get one of you into the 6th CD. How are we going to do that, folks? Amanda?
So I keep saying if we want a different result, we need to use a different recipe. I don't know about you all, but I'm pretty sick of basic white bread. I kind of want some spicy cinnamon rolls in there. So we need different ingredients. So we can't keep sending the same old to Congress, which is, let's be honest, Glenn has been in that position for far too long. He has been in public office since 1993, starting at the state assembly, going to state senate, and then to Congress. So we need a different recipe, and I think we could go with some cinnamon rolls that are a little spicy and maybe take a little extra work to get there, but we're going to get it done. So if anybody's interested in following along on my campaign, they can find me at amandabellforcongress.org. I'm on all the socials. I'm all over TikTok and Instagram. And just, I want to make sure that everybody realizes I am here to get the job done. I'm never afraid of hard work. And being a farm girl, I still have goats. I'm not afraid to do the hard work and clean out the barn if we need to.
Thank you.
So my biggest recommendation ask is for people not to give up hope and don't give into the apathy. Apathy is where democracy dies, truly, and we are at a severe risk of that because people don't. They're concerned that I've heard so many times this district's so gerrymandered, it can't be won. Democrats haven't been here forever. We are off the deep end of the pool. This is not normal times, which on the good news means it is a time for substantial change, and there's a hunger for it, and there's an eagerness, and so many of these things are bipartisan. Actually, if you scratch at it and talk to people, do you want good education? Do you want to be able to afford to raise your kids and give them a better future? There's so much here that we actually can agree on and work on. We just have to get people out and moving and working. So encourage people to vote, encourage them to register, make sure they're plugged in and vote like their lives depend on it, because they very well might. Only 40% of people vote in midterms. So we need to encourage people to register to vote if they're not. Do their research, be an advocate. And then pick your candidate and work your tail off to try and help get their visibility up and out there, whether that's volunteering. You know, we have a group of 300 plus volunteers who are out with us right now, canvassing across this district, all 11 counties. We've hit 6,100 doors and we're accelerating. So we'd love to have you with us. Most fun conversation you'll have in your life. Nobody loves Glenn and they all have weird stories about him. So it's I promise
They really do.
Or your money back. I'm telling you, you'll enjoy it. And then other than that, you know, get out, organize, share. And if you have the means, by all means, have fundraisers or donate, because Glenn has unlimited deep pockets. You know, we're leading the race right now in fundraising, but he still has 6 times more than us, and it's an unlimited resource. Unfortunately, campaigns cost money to be able to get signs out, word out, that sort of thing. So you can find us at bradsmithforcongress.com on our website, as well as Brad Smith for Congress on all the social media profiles, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. And we'd love to see you out there and join us for events or go door knocking together. Bring a bike. It's a fun way to do it. So thank you so much. I love bikes far too much, and you'll hear me proselytize how they're also beneficial. But so anyway, love to see you guys out there, and I look forward to more time together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for sharing your time, and good luck to both of you. We are supporting both of you.
All right.
We got to get Glenn Grothman out. Got to get him out.
To go. And you know, I can't say enough how lucky we are to have started with 9 strong candidates, and now we have 2 friends. We have not had this in how long? A real chance to get out there and make that change. Here's your chance. You're looking at 2 folks who are working hard to earn your vote. And once they do, and once that decision has been made, friends, what I appreciated in many of the conversations we've had is all 9 of you are full on support of what happens after August 11th, right? I think I said 8 before. It's August 11th. Oh my God, do not get that date out there wrong.
Yeah, no, it's 11.
We have to get behind that person on August 12th. We can take this district back, and we need to take this district back, but it's going to take all of us. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't say thank you enough for all the help you already have given us. Good luck to both of you, and I'm looking forward to celebrating on November 4th, or late in the evening, November 3rd. I have those dates right.
Yes, thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much.
Take care. Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day, you guys, and good luck in the coming weeks.
We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So you should be able to, I think the recording will go to you.
Yep. Let me recording and I can stop it. Thank you.
Okay.
Stop.